History is littered with the bones of dead empires. Rome, Babylon, the Ottomans. They expand, they fracture, and eventually they vanish beneath the sand. Persia is different. It survived millennia through a specifically adaptable model of statecraft. It became an enduring idea. Look at this map of the ancient world around 500 BCE. Under Cyrus the Great and his successors, the Achaemenid Empire consumed everything from the Balkans in the west to the Indus Valley in the east. Covering roughly 5.5 million square kilometers, it was the largest imperial polity the world had yet seen. Governing a territory that massive required a specific kind of management. Cyrus divided the empire into provinces called satrapies, each run by a governor who answered to the central throne. This baked clay artifact is the Cyrus cylinder. It documents a policy of religious tolerance, allowing displaced peoples like the Jews exiled in Babylon to return home and rebuild their temples. By treating conquered populations as subjects rather than captives, the empire fostered stability. Achaemenid rule succeeded by integrating diverse cultures into a single administrative machine. Eventually, decades of border wars with the Greek city-states weakened the central authority. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great swept across the Iranian plateau and conquered the Achaemenid state in its entirety. Alexander burned the physical capital, but he immediately faced a problem: how to rule the massive territory he had just won. His solution was to keep the Persian administrative structure intact. He adopted the satrapy system, relying on the very bureaucracy he had just defeated to manage his new empire. Centuries later, the Sasanian Empire emerged to reclaim this exact geographic and administrative footprint. They centralized the government once again and fused it with Zoroastrianism as the state religion. These stone reliefs at Persepolis illustrate a royal figure heroically battling a lion, legitimizing their rule through ancient Persian symbolism of strength. The physical borders of these ancient empires repeatedly collapsed, yet the Persian administrative blueprint remained the most effective tool available for governing the Middle East, even for those who arrived as invaders. By the 7th century, the Sasanian state was exhausted from a brutal war with the Byzantine Empire. This left them vulnerable to the expanding Arab armies carrying a new faith, Islam. The resulting conquest triggered a centuries-long transition away from Zoroastrianism. The nomadic Arab conquerors possessed immense military momentum, but limited experience running a complex, urbanized state. To manage their vast new territories, they relied on the surviving Persian administrative class and their existing bureaucratic records. This dynamic reached a turning point in 750 CE with the rise of the Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasids moved their capital to Baghdad, a city heavily influenced by Persian urban planning, court customs, and traditions of governance. By managing the day-to-day functions of the caliphate, Persian officials ensured their own administrative traditions remained the backbone of the new Islamic state. This synthesis ignited the Islamic Golden Age. It was an intellectual explosion, and the scholars driving these breakthroughs in science and philosophy were overwhelmingly Persian. This manuscript captures the rigorous organization of knowledge from that era. Persian polymaths produced the definitive texts of the medieval world. Al-Khwarizmi developed the mathematical systems that gave us algebra, while Avicenna wrote medical encyclopedias that remained standard textbooks in European universities for centuries. While Arabic became the language of religion, the Persian language experienced a massive revival. We see it vividly in this illuminated manuscript of the Shahnameh, written by the poet Ferdowsi. This epic preserved the myths and language of Iran's pre-Islamic history in spectacular detail. Through this intellectual dominance, a civilization erased from the map re-established itself through the minds of its people. By defining the science and literature of the era, Persians ultimately shaped the culture of their victors. After centuries of rule by foreign powers and nomadic groups, a native Iranian state returned to power in 1501. The Safavid dynasty reunited the region, establishing boundaries that closely mirror modern Iran. To create a permanent ideological boundary against the Sunni Ottoman Empire to the west, the Safavids made a strategic choice. They established Twelver Shia Islam, the belief in 12 divinely ordained spiritual successors to Muhammad, as the official state religion. This new national identity manifested in a burst of architectural innovation. Here's the Sheikh Lotfallah Mosque in Isfahan. The city was transformed into a global center of art, defined by immense public squares and intricate, vibrant blue tilework. By fusing a specific Shia theology with the geography of the Iranian plateau, the Safavids forged the distinct identity that characterizes the modern Iranian state. That distinct identity held strong through the 20th century, even as Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran, pushed aggressive modernization programs. In 1979, a massive societal rejection of foreign influence and monarchical rule erupted. Millions gathered in the streets in a revolution that sought to redefine the Persian soul through an Islamic lens. The resulting government envelops a modern republic within clerical rule. On this chart, ultimate authority sits with the supreme leader, who commands the armed forces. Below him, the Guardian Council acts as a strict filter, frequently disqualifying candidates before they run for parliament or president. To protect this overlapping system of religion and politics, the state relies on the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This military apparatus is tasked specifically with defending the ideological foundations of the republic. In recent years, this rigid structure has clashed with the population. These street protests are the latest chapter in a millennia-long dialogue, with the Iranian people once again pushing to renegotiate their identity. Look at the skyline of Tehran today. It is a bustling modern metropolis, existing on top of 2,500 years of layered history. Persia is not merely a place on a map. It is a civilization defined by eclectic cultural elasticity, an identity that absorbs the world's shocks, shapes its science and faith, and it continues to echo through time.